This is Groove Talk with Froggy Style.
Welcome to another episode of Groove Talk, everybody. On this episode, I am joined virtually by the Carbons.
What's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, guys. So I guess just to start this off, why don't you just kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the band?
Sure. I'm Tomy. I play guitar and I sing in the band. And maybe we'll do that and then we'll talk about the band after.
Yeah, my name's Conroy. I play the bass and I like long walks on the beach.
And I'm Paul. I'm the drummer.
Yeah, and we call ourselves Groove Rock. And because we kind of, we touch on a bunch of different genres like, blues, reggae,
Funk.
and funk. Obviously lots of rock, like rock is our main thing, but we kind of mix a bunch of elements from all those other genres. And yeah.
Bluesy makes you groove.
Yeah.
And it's rocky.
Blues.
Yeah. I feel like, especially in today's climate and with today's music, more than ever, people are just kind of, defining their own genre.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. Like the latest tune we put out, we had such a fun time in the studio because we just didn't care about, conforming or we really pushed the envelope as much as we could on this one. We turned all the dials to 11 and we just went as far as we could take it until our producer started cringing. You see his face turning, and then we know, okay, that's one too many, and so we dial it back a little.
Okay, that's the limit. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, and honestly, from listening to you guys, I can, you said you're bluesy and funk and rock, and you can definitely hear that all in your sound when you listen to your songs, which is awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Good. I'm glad that we got it right.
Yeah. But I think you kind of touched on something a little bit there, but it seems to be like the best music always comes from when you're not trying to sound like something, you're just trying to do the music that you make, and what comes out is what comes out,
Yeah, definitely. And it's been a journey, I would say, to be confident enough to just not care, because you do care, right? We care what our fans think, and we care what if people are going to come out, right? But you have, at one point, you have to just say, this song's for us, and
I think you get better too at hearing something in your head, and then going through the process of actually making it into a song that you show people and having it kind of be the true vision in your head. So it's taken us a little while, but I think we're kind of starting to grasp it.
Getting some system down, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good to have a producer too, right? Because he's the one who kind of says, okay, you guys had your fun turning everything up until it was gross. now dial it back a little bit, and then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm still happy. At least we swam out to as far as we could, and we're like, okay, this is as far as we can go. We're happy with coming back to shore now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the best music and the best bands are always trying to push those limits, right? They're trying to push those genre limits and push those boundaries. So I guess how long have you guys been playing together?
What'll be
almost 2 years.
2 years in May, April, May.
Yeah.
Maybe I would say. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
And you and I we jammed lots before.
Yeah, we know each other from way back. There's a little pub close to where we are right now, actually, that has open mics, and that's kind of where I started when I moved to town. Because I moved here about 6 years ago now, I think. I've lost track, 6 or 7, something like that. I started going to all the open mics. That was one of my favorite ones, and Conroy and we met there from the get-go, so yeah.
Awesome. How has your guys' sound changed over those years?
Question.
Oh yeah, that is a good question.
Well, I think this second album is way deeper lyrically, for sure. And musically as well, because we've come together as a band through playing the first record, and then now writing the second record together. Everything is kind of talking to each other better. All the instruments are talking together better on this next stuff. So it's the first album is great in itself, but it's a little bit lyrically
just shallower.
Yeah, most of the songs are about heartbreak or a girl.
Most songs will be like that.
Yeah, most songs are like that.
But on this next song we have Sleep and Black Mirror, which is about growing old, and our latest song Steel Toe Boots, which is just about working hard and in the trades.
I also think that we all come from different backgrounds of music too, and I think we're all still kind of learning that as well, and fusioning all those inspirations, all the influences together. And it seems like every time we jam, we kind of come up with something, because Conroy likes progressive, I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers rock, and Tomy likes like bluesy. Tomy likes bootleg, so we put all of that together, and then you get Steel Toe Boots.
Yeah. I guess how do the songs come together? What's like the writing process like for you guys?
Yeah, it's different for every song. Like the one we released. The one we released about a year ago, Sleep, that one it took us so many tries to get it right. And Paul and I, one day, we just walked up Knox and came up with some lyrics, jammed it in my living room, and we basically jammed it like 3 different ways until we found like the way that that was going to be on the record, right? And then Steel Toe Boots, so that one took forever. Like, how long would you say? Like months to write?
That was months for sure.
Yeah. And then...
You mean Sleep, right?
Sleep, yeah.
Sleep took months.
Sleep, yeah.
And then in contrast, the one we just released last week, we wrote in 8 hours while we were touring. So we had this little guitar that our producer lent us. Like, it was, about this big. It fit inside of our van that was like packed with gear. And we had like an 8-hour drive. I just pulled it out, started strumming these chords for a song I was like working on. And at the end of 8 hours, we had the whole thing. And we jammed it that night, and we played it that night.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not like one size fits all type of thing. Like every song is different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I guess, would you say that you feel more confident to do that now that you've kind of been playing together longer?
To do what?
To write a song in 8 hours and then jam it out or like play it live that very night. That's like, that's pretty. I guess I don't know much about the music writing process, but that seems like it's a pretty ballsy move, for lack of a better word.
It wasn't a super important show. Like, let me just put that out there. Yeah, it was like a Monday night in Saskatoon. Yeah. Do you know where that is? Saskatoon? Yeah. Of course you know. I had, for some reason, I thought you were from LA for a moment. I'm like, I wonder if he knows where Saskatoon is. But I'm like, no, fuck. Because there's this other podcast that we've been talking to that has like a similar logo as yours. And I think he's from LA, and so that's why I got confused for a moment. I had a brain fart. But yeah, so anyways, we were playing on a Monday night, and there was like almost nobody there. And so like, yeah, let's just jam it. And it went well. But like, these guys are amazing. Like, I bring a song to the table, and as long as I tell him which key it's in, well, Paul doesn't even care. He just wants the tempo. Yeah. But like, if I tell Conroy like which key it's in, like he might get lost, but he's not gonna play wrong notes. So.
Okay, cool. So I guess what are your guys' music backgrounds? Are you like traditionally trained musicians, or tell us what kind of that looks like?
Yeah, sure. So I started playing drums when I was 11 years old in High River, Alberta, and later moved on to the guitar like when I was 15. And I kind of never looked back, but yeah, no formal training, just, listening to my favorite bands and playing along, or like finding tabs online and things like that. Yeah, and then slowly started writing. Yeah.
For me, it's funny. I picked up the guitar when I was also 11, and started playing guitar. Older brother was the drummer, and we played music all throughout our teens, and then did some like solo guitar stuff, and then always had a bass kicking around, and did a lot of music theory, for me in high school, and studying that, and then these guys really needed a bass player, and I was like, I want to do this. I love the tunes from the first album, so yeah, then I joined the band.
They weren't too shallow for you?
He's gonna bug him about that for months.
I honestly, I feel like that's how all the best bass players are found. They're guitar players, but like the band already has a guitar player, so it's like, I'll just play bass. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul doesn't have a background.
Yeah. I don't know where I am actually. No, I've been playing drums since I was like 8, but I did have like formal lessons for about 10 years. So I had a really good mentor, taught me as much as he could, and then moved to Kelowna, took a course in recording engineering, and I learned a little like basic to intermediate music theory there, which helped. And then now I'm a drum instructor, so got a credential, and just took a challenge, a drum exam, and got my credential under that. And so I've just been doing that for the last 6 years, but also played in a couple bands in town, and then Tomy reached out, needed a drummer, and again, I love the tunes, and I used to go to a couple of their shows, and was like, yeah, these guys are sick, I'd love to play with them one day, if that ever happened, and boom, well, he's calling me like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, I guess you know what it was, you did call on me for guitar.
Yeah.
And I played 2 shows as a second guitar player for a couple songs, because they needed a couple, extra guitar parts, and then
that was my first show too.
Yeah, and then it was time for the bass, because the bass player was leaving.
Well, we gelled right away. What can I say?
Yeah. Awesome. So I mean, I would say that your guys' sound it's a very big and full sound. Is that ever a challenge to like get that sound with just the 3 members, or is that something you even pay attention to, or?
No, so what we do is we actually play through 4 amps. So I play through 2 different guitar amps, and Conroy plays through his bass amp and a guitar amp. So he has like an octave pedal that basically acts as like a rhythm guitar. Mm-hmm. And then Paul has SPSX?
I have a drum sampling machine where I import a lot of the extra ambience and layered guitars into my machine, and during the live shows I just smack it during the certain parts just to add more color to it, more fullness, stuff like that.
Yeah, and everybody sings too, so that helps. Mm-hmm. But also, like, when we play live, like, we try not to try to replicate exactly what's on the record. We pick like the important parts and things like that, but the show is about it's about a performance. It's about something else. It's about connecting to your audience. Like if your audience was just there to listen to exactly what's on Spotify, like, I don't know. To me, that's never why I went to a show. I went there to party and to like connect and to hear some stories about the songs and and to sing along and stuff. So
if I can elaborate on that, I think we kind of do like what the Chili Peppers do in their live show. Like if you watch Chili Peppers live, they don't play Californication exactly off the album. They do like to improvise and jam it for a bit and stuff like that. And I feel like we do the same in our live shows.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that, because it's something that I always say, if I wanted to hear the band exactly the way that it's like recorded on the album, I would just stay home and listen to Spotify. Like it's way comfier at home. I can listen to it really loud. I can do whatever I want. Like when I go out to a show, I'm looking for like that extra thing, like them to like change up the song a little bit, or there's also always that like kind of the possibility that something could go wrong. It's like it's a journey that we're going on together.
Oh my God! Like every time Tommy walks out into the crowd and tries to climb the tallest thing he can, and makes us freak out. Man.
The thing is, I usually try to improvise a little bit when we play live, and I don't always tell them what's gonna happen.
I think we're good enough players to
Yeah, and then that's the thing that's great. There was one show where I went like all the way around the building because there's like a mezzanine, like a second floor, but I didn't want to go through the crowd, right? So I went out the back door and then like ran around the whole building, climbed up through the front door so nobody could see me, and then I showed up like, it was basically like 20 feet high.
It was super cool, yeah.
You would probably die of a serious injury.
We're just playing like, where is he? Where is he? And then all of a sudden he's way up in the rafters behind, on the other side.
I had planned it, but I forgot to tell them.
And you're playing the guitar the entire time. You're like running around the building.
Oh, he's got a wireless system. So
I have a wireless.
That's
so
a must. Yeah.
It must have cut out a little bit.
It cut out a little bit in the in-ears, I could tell, but I mean, I didn't know where you were. I was like, is it Phantom of the Opera? He's under the stage or something? Like, where is this guy?
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I mean, the whole, like, how you guys came onto my radar actually is I saw you play live at Big Winter Classic 2020.
Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned that.
Oh,
yeah.
Sick.
That was a fun show. We just made it there by the buzzard. Yeah, we were texting them, and because the roads were rough from our last show, and we just got there like 30 minutes before we were supposed to start playing the first note.
Yeah.
Fuck, yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun show, man.
Fun show.
That was, whatever,
Yeah. Do you guys make it down to Calgary a lot, or?
Yeah, we did.
The year before we played the Gateway, which was amazing.
That was awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't the year before. That was like 3 months before.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm losing track.
Which is technically the year before, because Big Winter Classic happens in January.
Thanks, Cody. You got my back on this guy.
You're right. Yeah, shit, Big Winter, that's coming up, the 25th, I think it was, or 24th.
Man.
Yeah. Not happening this year, though.
No, I know, but I just mean like the anniversary of when we played. It's
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it's going to be missed for sure.
And it would have been such a nice mild winter to have a great tour.
No kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Like last year we were battling snow from like place to place. It was awful. We crashed our van and
yeah, we went through 2 tour vehicles.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah.
One we bought and it just landed up not working very well, so we had to get towed again.
You got towed like 2 or 3 times that year. Fuck.
Yeah, last year was crazy. With the snow,
Yeah. So I guess what have you guys been up to this year? Like, how are you staying sane through all of this, I guess?
Yeah. Well, we recorded a bunch of our own like music videos. So we went back to that first album and we did like a Survivor style like music video. Because we had just gotten back from Australia and so we basically pretended like on our way there we crashed and then we got all this footage during the summer out here, and actually a lot of our fans thought that we had gotten all that footage from Australia. Didn't even recognize that we were like in our hometown.
So we did those 2 music videos from the first album. And then, like, we just recently shot Boots ourselves as well, and the process went way faster, and it's fun. We're getting better at it. It's third time's a charm, and we're gonna be shooting some more videos ourselves as well, so it's fun.
Oh, so you make the music videos yourselves then?
Well, not all of them, but we did 3 in the last 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did 3 ourselves. So what we do is we just like. We have a storyline that we come up with around my kitchen table usually, or like outside,
Or
like
on tour sometimes.
Yeah, we're on tour, and then we take out this camera that we're filming with right now, and it shoots 4K, and we just like hand it out, and we just do each scene. And whenever we need like all three of us in the scene, then we have like a tripod, and if we need extra help, then we'll have like a friend come and just shoot for like an hour or something like that. But yeah.
Awesome. So how important is it to you guys to kind of have that visual representation of your music?
Well, I mean, to us, it's not. I wouldn't say it's that important to me personally, but I know that lots of people enjoy that. Lots of people, their ears are not as developed as musicians, and so it helps to have visual cues, right?
And it does, it's an extra piece of marketing, I'd say.
Exactly.
So it will, it opens it up to different people if they're just on YouTube and they land up on a Carbon's music video. And
yeah, there's certain songs that I would say more than others, but I spend most of my time, if you had to choose between YouTube or Spotify, I spend most of my time on Spotify. I don't really watch that much YouTube videos and stuff like that. I just listen more, but I know how much people appreciate the videos, so we do it for them.
Yeah. No, that's the same way with me. I'm much more of an audio person over a visual person. But in today's society and climate, YouTube's a huge thing, and it's definitely beneficial to have your stuff up on YouTube with some visual representation, I would say.
For sure. And it's easier to share too. People are more willing to share it if they have a video. They can also, I think, connect more, right? When you see a person's face and how they react, I think you can connect with that artist a little bit better, and that makes you want to share it even more, right?
Yeah. And I would also say you can add an element of humor or cheekiness or whatever it may be. You guys did very well. You did that very well with your last music video, the Steel Toe Boots one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Down to the whole synchronized dance thing. Come on.
Well, I mean, so I think also what we've done is, I think scientifically, if it's a little funny, the quality doesn't have to be as good either.
Yeah, the production. Yeah, the production quality of we don't have to rent, a $3,000 camera to shoot it, right? And we don't have to have all this gear to shoot a music video that costs. Because we did one that costs, I think, almost $5,000. We got a grant for it, so that was nice. But at the end of the day, this one's just as engaging, and it costs nothing. So, well, it cost our time. We spent a lot of time thinking about what was going to happen, and then obviously going out there, filming it ourselves, all of that. You have to take that into account. But
it depends on the song too. I think we have the next single we have, it's we're not going to do a funny music video to that one. So it depends on the song.
Yeah.
I guess, is there any unique ways in which you guys connect with your audience? With your live shows, with your social media, anything, something that might be unique that you don't see maybe a lot that you're doing?
Well, Tomy just had a songwriting session with one of our Patreons, so we do some stuff for our Patreons.
We did a little. Yeah, that's a good one actually. I was trying to think what's something that other people might not do. Yeah, we have done some writing sessions where we actually write with people on Instagram Live, and they they'll just write some words or a line that they think might work for a song, and so we just start writing a song live with people.
We also, I don't know, maybe this does, everyone else probably has done this, but we do sometimes live hangouts on Instagram. We just literally sit on a couch and talk to our fans, really, and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean we're not big enough yet that we have a bajillion comments and we ignore people. We comment back. If you comment on our stuff, we comment right back and we say hi. So we're really personable online.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is I have sent some personal messages to people with like a song, like, so if they have a song request, I'll just send it to them, right? Like, just as a DM or something like that. So I don't know, that doesn't seem like that unique to me, but that's the only thing I can come up with.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff though is like you guys engaging with your fans, and I like a lot of bands probably aren't taking the time to do that, you know. So
Now's the time, yeah.
yeah, now is definitely the time. Everybody has the time. Everybody's stuck at home, right? So
Yeah.
I shouldn't say everybody has the time. I don't know everybody's lives, but
I will say one special thing that we did during this last 6 months of pandemic. Last 6 months of pandemic was special. We got to go to Echo Plant and spend a week down in Vancouver, Chilliwack area at Echo Plant Studios. So that was one special thing we did over the last pandemic months.
Yeah.
That was nice.
But you know, all of us just can't wait to get back playing shows and going back on tour.
yeah, it's one of those things, you know, you kind of, you don't realize how important it is until you can no longer go to shows and stuff like that, and you no longer have this live music in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. Like, I'm just wondering, I'm wondering if people know how important it is, or if they're too distracted with like mainstream media to realize that, you know, music is what brings people together and keeps the peace on earth or whatever.
Yeah. The follow-up question that I kind of had was, have you guys been kind of taking advantage of, you know, kind of the live stream thing that has kind of emerged from this whole pandemic, or?
Yeah, I did at first, like in April, and I basically did this virtual tour. So I went and asked people in the DMs, like, hey, can I like come and play on your virtual couch, right? And so I set up like, I think 10 days or something. So I went on Instagram Live every day, but I would do like the live with a fan as opposed to like another artist. So I would play them 3 songs, we'd have a little bit of a chat, and then the next day I would do the same thing with a different fan. So we did that for a while, but since then, you know, we've basically only gone on like a handful of times. Like now that we're releasing music like regularly again, we're gonna be doing more of them, like, you know, once every release at least. But I just find like maybe it's just Instagram Live that's not really conducive to it. But yeah, I tried doing this other thing where I was doing like a podcast, but it was like really tough to nail down like people's schedules and like to come up with a time. And so it just became like really time consuming and didn't seem like there was much of a reward, right? It just like, it's not the same as being, if I was actually in front of you, right? As if I was actually like at your house. So I think it was okay when we were in full lockdown, but now that people can go outside their houses and like, you know, I don't know.
It was good. It was like a couple times is great, but I think it was like too much, you know, too many times is bad. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you noticed like some Instagram lives that have been working really well, or?
To honestly, I don't. I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this. As much as like I do a podcast and I'm like kind of have my I am aware of what's happening on Instagram because that's how I like find out who I want to talk to, who's doing what. The whole live stream thing and all of that and like the Instagram Live, it just kind of like goes right over my head, and it's not something that I pay a lot of attention to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I've been going on like, there's a few artists that I follow that are not like, you know, well, I guess John Mayer is a big one. So John Mayer does some, and then he gets like, you know, 20,000 people listening in, but he also doesn't do it every day or every week. Right? Like he'll do it, I don't know, once every few months or something like that. And then there's some other bands that I follow, like some Canadian bands that are not quite that level, but you know, like one level down from there in terms of like how big they are. And you know, they only have a handful of people tuning in because I don't know, it's just like, it's not that exciting to watch people on Instagram Live. And I think maybe if it was like a dancer, like that'd be different. Like if somebody's like teaching you how to do something, but just listening to people talk, like I don't know. I listen to Joe Rogan, but not live. Like I'll listen to him when I have it 3 hours or whatever. Right?
It's also another avenue that you have to spend like a bunch of time on technology wise to get like a really nice product for people.
Yeah.
Like the Twitch, some people do it on Twitch and they're so good at it, but they're like amazing backdrop and like the sound is pristine.
Yeah.
And
like if it
takes a lot of time.
Yeah, if it was our main thing, then I would say we would probably spend more time on it. But I think our time's better spent like, creating new content and creating new videos, like filming our videos ourselves and things like that. So anyways, that was a long answer, but
dude, as a podcaster, I love long answers. So, but I agree with you guys. Like I've maybe since this pandemic started or whatever, I think I maybe tuned into one live concert, and it's just not something. It's not the same, It's not the same as going to a show, and you don't get that. I mean, you maybe get a fraction of the feeling that you might get going to a show, but for me, it's all about being in the place with the band, like right there, and like the crowd and the energy, and it's a different kind of experience,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the next best thing that we almost did. Until things got worse out here, like in BC, is that we were gonna have a show with like not even half capacity, like less than like an eighth of the capacity in the place. But at least if there's like 50 people in this giant theater and we're playing to them, then it still feels like a concert, and people might want to watch it because it feels like there's energy other than the band, right? There's other people around, and which is why people will go and watch shows on YouTube that were filmed, right? But they're not gonna watch like a live stream of somebody with no audience. Like I was watching basketball at my brother's place a couple weeks ago, and there was the stands were empty. And I was like, man, this feels wrong. It feels boring. Like it, all these sponsors were basically using up all these chairs, and it just seemed like they were practicing, even though it was a real game, and there was commentators and stuff like that. But just having no audience there, I was just like, yeah, it doesn't make me want to watch it.
Yeah. And it's funny that like somebody that I work with said the exact same thing about like hockey coming back and everything. He was just like, every time they score, there's crowd noise, but it's weird because there's nobody in the crowd.
Yeah, it is weird.
So it all just seems fake now. It doesn't seem like it's real.
Who's gonna taunt the goalies?
Well, especially in in football games too. Like if the referee made like a bad call on the penalty, they throw like the booing audience, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Like there's no one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And I think as as human beings, we're very social creatures, and we're kind of attracted to crowds and the excitement of crowds and stuff like that. Like, I'm not a huge hockey fan. I used to be a bigger hockey fan than I was, but when I go to a game that's live, like, and I go to a Flames game or whatever, and I'm sitting in the audience, I get into it because everybody else is into it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same with me. Like, I'm not a huge hockey fan, but when we're watching like the Stanley Cup or even football, I actually enjoy football a little bit more, but I won't watch it until like I have a group of friends around me who are like, hey, we're having a get together at my house, like come over, we're gonna have beer. And well, as soon as they say beer, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm here.
That's the first thing you have, get beer.
Yeah.
Beer and chips and salsa.
Don't even take it
Yeah,
out.
but then it's like an event, but I won't watch sports by myself. And I'll go to a game if somebody invites me and they're really stoked on it, and I'm like, okay, I can get into it.
Are they doing the WWE this year?
Yes, they are.
They
Yes,
are?
they are.
Oh, that's gonna be weird.
And they have all of their fans like
Cutouts?
No, they're like on. I don't know if it's a little green screens on each seat, but like you can see them. They're like at their house on like a FaceTime. Wow. And they're all just sitting there, all their faces. They're like, yeah, like, get on that chair. It's like, are you kidding me, man? That's phenomenal. What is this? Undertaker's still going? Like, like what?
I will say, like, I have been to a couple of shows when they were allowed in the summertime with like reduced capacity and stuff like that. And I actually went to a drive-in show.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, and even that, like, it was cool to be out there. It was cool to see live music, but even that, it's like it's just lacking that like crowd element, that excitement of the crowd that like really kind of is what does it for live shows for me, I guess. But I will say this, it was the comfiest show I've ever been to.
Yeah, but yeah. I know, man, I know what you mean, and that's part of the reason why, you know, we didn't dive too much into it. If we were doing podcasts or something like that, then maybe more, but being musicians and especially like a rock group, like we're not a sit down, you know, type of band. You know, if we were playing like acoustic folk rock or something like that, then I don't know, maybe our strategy would have been a little different. But yeah, at this point, I think our time is best used writing new songs, releasing new music, and you know, I don't know when this is going to end. Hopefully it does, and hopefully it's sooner than later. But I think that's the best thing we can do right now. Otherwise, it would just be like, yeah, sure, me going on Instagram Live acoustically, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, you know, agree with your guys' statement is your music isn't the type of music that you just, you know, have on in the background and don't pay attention to, you know. It's like, it's very like loud and kind of like in your face, and it's, you know, it's something that I would listen to like while I'm working because it would get me like fired up, you know.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but you guys are, you know, releasing music and working on new music. So I guess how do you decide when things are coming out, if it's going to be a single, if it's going to be an album? Like, I guess take us through the process on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we've kind of been, things have been changing, you know, ever since we started becoming a band. So like when we put out the first album, what we should have done was put out a bunch of singles and then put out the album, right? But you know, our ego, I think, got a little bit in the way. I had never put out like an LP before, and so we ended up just releasing everything all at once. And but since then, we kind of learned that, you know, as an up and coming band, it's better to just release little bits at a time, right, and get your fan base up. And so that's what we're doing now. We're just releasing one song at a time, once every month. You know, when the pandemic started, we had a strategy, and then obviously everything changed again. So now we have a new strategy, and you know, we're hoping that we can stick to it. I mean, at this point, unless the internet goes down, like, we can keep going. Yeah. Because that's what we're doing. Like, we're recording in this room for a lot of the things that we're doing. Like, we went into a studio to record drums, but a lot of what we're going to be doing now is just at my house, because, you know, that's all we can control. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. I feel like a lot of, it seems to be that's the way that, like, kind of the music industry is going. It's like getting away from albums and focusing more on like releasing singles every month or doing EPs or something smaller, so you can kind of keep that excitement up, you know? Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think it's different once you've made it. Yeah. You know? Like, what's her face? Taylor Swift. She just released 2 albums in 2020. But like, she's not, you know.
Fucking Beyonce doesn't even tell anybody. She just releases a whole album.
Oh yeah, she doesn't even tell anyone. Yeah. Well, which is like
Yeah.
that's one strategy, I guess.
That's a strategy, yeah, exactly. But if you're really big, you can announce like, oh, in May we're gonna have an album, and then people are already pre-ordering it or whatever. But yeah.
So you mentioned that you do a lot of recording in the room that you guys are sitting in. So do you record a lot of your own music, or?
Well, we just started, like, again, like what I was just saying,
okay.
This is the new strategy.
Yeah.
So we just started that a few months ago, like Nowhere to Go, the one we released in November. That was all done in this room, even the drums, actually.
Yeah, electric.
And we're actually, like, really proud of that one. It was kind of, basically what happened was we had this song that we were going to release last May, and then we said, well, we can't tour, so we're not going to release it. And then the song's called Superheroes, and people actually started acting like superheroes during the pandemic, like in the early days, like before everyone started like yelling at each other again. So we're like, well, now's the time to release this song.
Yeah.
So we put the song out, and then we started working on the videos. And once we were done with those videos, there were still no shows. But we're like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, not create music anymore, and just wait around until shows are back? And that was out of the question, because that would have, turned. I guess it would have caused us to go into a depression probably. So we just started recording, like, doing the things that we can't control. And that's why we're doing it here. We still have our pros that are like doing all the mixing and things like that. So, and our producer that, if we really fuck up, he'll tell us.
Yeah, I mean, like all three of us are fairly capable of being able to like record a guitar. It's like It's not rocket science. You put a microphone up to the thing, and he's gonna play as best he can. But mixing wise, that's when we let our producer handle that and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, like I know a band, at least one band here in Calgary, that they had a album that they wanted to release, back in, I think it was in the summertime, and I was talking to them about it, but they didn't want to release it if they couldn't do a release show, and they're still sitting on that album, and they haven't released it yet because they really want to do a release show for it, and it's like, yeah.
It's like time to start putting out the singles.
Yeah, exactly.
It took us a while to kind of wrap our heads around that, and luckily, we put out those other two videos over the summer, so that kept us busy. But yeah, it took us a while, I guess like 6 months, I would say. It took us 6 months to come to the realization that, like, well, we're not going to wait around anymore. We're just going to release music because maybe what it was is we started writing new stuff as well.
Well, I think it was also too, we wanted to have a release show because we just canceled our tour, which was going to take us to San Francisco and Portland because they canceled the NHL the day before we were going to leave in the NBA. So we decided not to go on tour. And then we had a great single called Superheroes, and we were going to do a release show, and we were holding on to that. And how long did we wait to release Superheroes?
Oh yeah, a year. We were like, for that song, we probably waited a year to like make sure the timing was right. We had other songs.
Yeah, the timing was right, and then it was right, and we were excited, and then we had to hold it for a little bit. But then Superheroes, we kind of thought about it, and it kind of made sense.
I was wondering why you were going through the story. You were in the bathroom. I just told the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. But yeah, anyways, it's good. It was, we came to the realization people need music, so we're going to keep putting out music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we have to cut our costs down, right? Which is why we're recording out of here. Because if we're not playing shows, then we're not really making any money. We have our Patreon page, and that helps a little. And we're selling like some merch online right now. So our fans have been like really supportive. But because we're new, like we don't have that many like loyal fans, that will actually spend money. Like most people will spend money at a show.
Yeah. It's kind of that point of, you see a band, you really like them, you buy their CD, you buy their shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like it's really hard to obtain new fans when you can't play live shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the internet is full of music, and it's really hard to find good music sometimes on the internet because everybody has music on the internet. So yeah. So I mean, the live shows is kind of, I would imagine, where most bands kind of garner most of their new fans.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I think it's because, you know, when you go on tour and you play, whether it's a pub or a theater or however, you know, big you are, well, let's say like as a band starting out, you know, where you're playing your local pubs or your, you know, underground like punk bars or whatever, the local scene trusts that venue, right? They don't have to go looking for new music. They're like, well, if we want to hear new music, we're going to go down to the pub, right? Because they trust that there's not going to be garbage at that venue, or there's going to be music that they like. So not having that hurts a lot.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I totally agree with that statement. Like, when I was younger, in my early 20s and stuff like that, that's what we would do. You know, the weekend would roll around and we'd be like, what are we doing? Well, the answer was, we're always going to this specific bar because we know they're going to be playing good music, you know? So, yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. So, I know that you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys did something kind of interesting with the Superheroes single release. Wasn't that the one where you kind of gave all the proceeds to charity? Or?
Yeah, all the streaming proceeds went to charity. So we're at, I think, around $350 now. Yeah, so it's been good. We got like over 100,000 streams on it, so we're happy. Yeah.
Awesome. How important is it for you guys to kind of use your platform and use your voice to kind of advocate maybe for charities and stuff like that?
I feel like it was more important last year or even before that, but I've kind of shifted my perspective on that, because it seems like, I don't know if it's just in our town, but it seems like every weekend there's a charity about something, and I think we're just saturated with it. And so, and the other aspect of it is that, to me, it feels like you're assuming that people aren't already making the world a better place. You know, when you're asking them like to donate to a cause or something like that, you don't know, like they might be sponsoring a kid in Africa already, right? And you're asking them for money, and then they're just like, oh, I don't really want to go because like whatever, like I already, do enough for the world. And maybe they do, right? And that's the thing, like you can't really know that, but if you just trust people, and you instead promote like, hey, let's have a good time, like come out to the show, we're gonna have a great time, and it's gonna be an escape from your miserable week. Right? Yeah. And then if we want to choose to donate some of our proceeds, then that's fine, but I don't know, I think what's happening with a bunch of local musicians, at least that I know, and I say local, I mean like, I guess independent musicians, is that we're seeing the big guys like Foo Fighters and Taylor Swift, let's say for example, who are doing those kinds of things, and we're inspired by them, and so we want to do it too. But the thing is, like, they've gone through like all the other cycles of making music. They've gotten like people out to the show and excited, and once they get successful, then they start thinking like, okay, well, it's time for us to give back, right? And I think as independent artists, sometimes we want to be like our favorite artists are now, when in reality we should try to do what they were doing when they were at our level.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. And I've also come into that trap, I guess. you see the people that you look up to, and for me it's, you know, maybe various different podcasters or whatever, and you're like, they're doing that, so I should be doing that right off the get-go, right? That's why they're successful, is because they're doing that. And it's like, well, no, there's all these other steps that you have to accomplish and you have to get down before you can start doing that, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And also something that just, as you gave that answer about, you know, we're going to provide some, you know, an escape from your miserable week or whatever. It just really reminded me of like karma. You know, you guys are putting a smile maybe on somebody's face, or you are helping them escape from their week, which is going to put them into a better mood. So they're more likely to do nice things for people and stuff like that. So, yeah, you're saving the world, or making the world a better place, one rock show at a time.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
I think that's our goal.
Could have been a lawyer, but
Oh, shit. Well, I mean, and it's crazy. Like, it took a while to kind of get to that perspective, because at first you think that music's not good enough to change the world, right? It's just like, no, we need to do something more. And it was our videographer actually that said this to me at one point. He's like, who the fuck do we think we are? Like, we're like Superman. We're here to like save everyone, and we're like better than everyone, and we can tell people like what to you know, what charities to, you know, we're just fucking rock musicians, and that's how other people see us. And I think that's fair. Just like, these guys are just musicians. Like, they don't know anything about charities, and maybe we do, maybe we don't. But I think like, I don't think it's our job to, you know, I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you. It's like it's like all those like, it's like celebrities when they're just like, oh, do this, and it's like, dude, you're an actor. You're not even supposed to have an opinion on this stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, maybe they are smart, and maybe they do have a degree in something else. But if that's not what you're known for, then maybe you shouldn't use your platform for that.
Just rock out.
Yeah, exactly. And then if people, just rock out. And if people want to know something more, want to know how they can help, yeah, like, I think people will just naturally, what's the word I'm looking for? Gravitate towards that positive energy that you were talking about. And then they'll maybe ask questions. And then that's when you start, you know, finding out what you have in common. And maybe they like turtles and we like turtles. And so, hey, buy this shirt. $5 of it goes towards turtles.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
I fucking love turtles.
Dude, I love turtles.
We should have a turtle thing in his dashboard in his fucking vehicle. That's how I know it's
Curtis the turtle with the bobbing head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that's exactly it. Like, you know, there's moments for those things for sure, but
Yeah, I just find I just got tired of blasting people with like, hey, donate to this, donate to that. It's more like, hey guys, here's some laughs. You guys want to laugh? Okay, good.
Well, it's also like, you don't want to be asking people for money right now. It's like, you know, they don't have the money to be spending, you know, as much as they probably would want to, you know.
Yeah.
And I agree with you guys. It's like, anytime somebody tells me on a video or whatever it may be, like, especially if it's like an actor and they're like, hey, donate to this charity, my first thought is like, you donate to the charity, you have way more money than I do.
You're getting paid to tell us this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, we should all be trying to make the world a better place, but that doesn't mean that it necessarily has to come in the form of telling people to donate to charities or whatever. It's just like kind of putting your best foot forward and being nice to people. I think that's how the way we change the world, I guess.
Yeah.
And we are the first to admit we don't have all the answers. We don't.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so.
I thought you did.
No, Paul does. Paul's the guy.
Oh, Paul has all the answers. He's like, he doesn't even know where he is right now.
So I'm actually just kind of curious. What is the Kelowna music scene like? I've honestly can't say I've ever been to a show in Kelowna. So
yeah, so we have so you saw us at Broken City, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we have a pub here that's like kind of similar to that. It's a little bit smaller. It's a bit smaller.
I don't know which one.
Tornadoes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's narrower.
Yeah, it's a little bit smaller than that. But we have like a punk bar, and then we have another bar just down the street that's more. They do punk shows too, but
everything.
They do everything.
They're like
there.
rock, metal, punk.
Yeah.
Some indie stuff.
They do funk. Yeah.
It's always changing though. Like Kelowna businesses pop up and shut down so often here. So when a business pops up, there's usually a few people in the community that play music who go, I want to play music at your establishment. And then if they're keen on it, then we try to get a little bit of music going. But there are like 3 or 4 venues that always have music, and those are the
a wide variety of like musicians too in this town.
Yeah,
like,
good different genres.
All genres, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Awesome.
good town, man. Good town for
The
music.
wineries have lots of cool shows sometimes.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Everything changed this year.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of like, it's the same with Calgary, right? Venues pop up, they close down, they change. There's a few staples that are always around. But we're even seeing some of those close down this year. Like after 10, 15 years of being a live music venue, those ones they're not
So
making
sad.
it. So
Yeah, man, it's so sad. Like, I don't know why we can't just have a show and everybody wears a mask. Like, fuck, I was just at the hill today. like, snowboarding today, and, people are packed, like, right beside each other, but everybody's wearing a mask. And, they have, like, people enforcing it as well. And so, it's sad that that's where we are. But, fuck, I think that would be better than not having shows at all for another year.
Totally.
yeah,
Like we had a show last summer outside.
Oh, that was so fun.
And you were supposed to like socially distance and things like that, but most people didn't give a shit. And
But it was a small little group of a family. It's a private show.
no,
That
I'm
one?
talking about the one at Redbird.
On Canada Day?
Oh,
Yeah, Canada Day, yeah.
Time after?
Yeah, it's
Time
just
after
like
that?
the
Okay.
people that did care, they stayed in their areas, right? And the people that are younger and did you freeze again? Oh yeah. And then the people that don't care, they like took their own lives into their own hands, and they were dancing and they were having a good time, and I don't know, man. Like, how else are we gonna get out of this?
yeah. And like I think that's kind of the whole thing about it is it feels like you're taking away the choice that you should allow people to make, right? You should allow people to make that decision for themselves. Like, I understand where the other side is coming from and everything like that, and honestly, I don't have like a strong opinion either way, but I really do think that people should be allowed to kind of like take those risks. We all know the risks. We all know the information that's out there, and we should be able to make that decision for ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. And I think like, maybe not in the first few weeks. Sure, like I agree, like March and April, like.
It's so new.
But now everyone knows what the risks are. I don't think I've talked to a single person in the last even 6 months, like since the summer, that doesn't know about coronavirus and who it affects and who it doesn't affect as much. So yeah, I totally agree with you, man. Like, and I don't think we're gonna be able to get out of this until people, take responsibility for their health and people get their freedoms back. And yeah, it's sad that we have to talk about it. Like
We actually have a rule in the band
yeah.
where we don't talk about religion and politics. So it's been a very hard year for the politics.
Yeah, as much as you try to stay away from it, it creeps up because it's everywhere.
It's contagious right now.
Yeah. And honestly, I probably have the same rule for the podcast. It's not an area I usually delve into, but like you said, it's everywhere right now. You can't not talk about it.
But it's a good thing to have those set rules, because like,
To To not talk about
politics.
Yeah.
We're seeing it every time. We don't need to talk about it. Let's talk about something else than that. Yeah.
Well, the rule was actually that Conroy just can't talk at all. But
it's too hard of a rule for me to follow.
It's hard for the guy.
Yeah. Just as I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners would be curious too, but could you maybe give us a few other bands that are found in Kelowna that maybe people should check out and have on their radar?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Lucky Monkey, they're a great band. They're like a mix of everything. Good rock.
They
rock
come out
music.
with new stuff right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a new song on the 22nd that's out.
Yeah.
There's sad. Big band, The Wild. They're like Kelowna's AC/DC basically. Like, they were working with Mike Fraser, who like produced
Are they done?
AC/DC. No, they're still going.
Oh,
It just
okay,
sucks because they were climbing, and then COVID hit, and then it's.
So The Wild.
So The Wild, they're good. Lucky
Yeah.
Monkey.
Yeah, those are both rock bands. There's this, what do you call them, like folk rock, I guess, Kentucky
The
Eileen.
Kentucky Eileen, like bluegrass kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then Josh and Bex. So Bex like BEX. They're really good. They put out a few songs. They're not so good at marketing, but they're great at music.
They're nice folk.
They're amazing.
They sing
They're good,
harmonies
man.
together really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
If you got any like listeners that are into the indie scene, there's Postmodern Connection.
Oh, yeah.
PMC. They're
Honestly, our producer Dan Harden.
yeah.
He's worked with so many bands and he produces a ton of people. So if you search Dan Harden, he's got some music out, and then you can probably find a ton of people from him too.
Yeah.
He did Tolosia. You guys listen to that?
No,
They
I
got 2
haven't.
songs. They're cool. That was from
Yeah, I did
the
listen
girl
to it, I think.
Tolosia.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. There's lots of good
And
stuff.
also
You gotta look. You gotta look.
that awful rhythm.
Oh yeah.
So our videographer has a really cool project that he's been doing for a while, and it's got a mix of that Grandson and Cage the Elephant kind of vibe.
Totally.
Oh, what about that other band, The Pickups? No, just joke. That's my other project.
Don't worry about that one. I'm just kidding. That band's sick.
We
Yeah.
just released a single too, so.
He's great at marketing.
I actually have marketing.
Awesome.
I actually have a diploma in marketing. But that band's kind of on it. It's just me and the drummer, and we just work together. We just love what we do. And we just put out some tunes. It's called The Pickups, but.
It's like System of a Down meets No Doubt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that awful rhythm though. They just came out with a
Grime, it's
song.
called, yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's so talented. That's kind of our videographer guy we work with when we do we did Nowhere to Go. Michael Elliott, with he's amazing. So he's that awful rhythm and a conglomerate of other people too, right? He works with all these
He's a
people.
collaboration artist for sure.
Yeah, collaboration kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So are there just kind of any final things that you guys want to throw out there before we kind of wrap this up?
Subscribe to our Spotify.
You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, we're gonna have a song out every month.
Yeah, check our Instagram out, our Facebook. We do a lot of
We have
fun-
TikTok now.
Yeah, TikTok. We're on the talk. Let's
Dude.
talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
You just pulled a dad joke that I would do normally,
I know,
actually.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, honestly, I used to hate on TikTok, but I got off Facebook and I'm trying to stay off of YouTube for the political reasons. And TikTok's just full of fucking creatives. So
Oh, man.
yeah, I'm on board. I'm in.
Yeah, I feel you on TikTok. I've resisted it for quite some time, but I'm seeing a lot of neat and funny and just lighthearted content coming off of it. So I think it's something that I'll be into for sure.
You just have to make sure that you like, the content that you want to see, because it knows that you're a male, so it's going to show you tons of boobies at first, and you don't know which ones are the right age and which ones aren't. So make sure that you just keep swiping, and then when you see a guitarist, you just like his shit, and you'll see more of that and less of the underage shit.
Yeah. Awesome.
What?
Solid advice.
It's good advice.
I haven't seen boobs since I started.
Yeah,
I've seen a bunch of guys for some reason.
You're working out.
And cats, probably.
Yeah, man, cats, dude.
He's so proud. Like, he put out a cat video yesterday, and it's got 2,400 views
We
already.
got him one night, dude. I was blown. Checked it out. Looked at my cat and I was like, "You're gonna make me famous. Fuck the band. Like, look at this shit, dude." No, it's cute.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'll have all the links for your social medias and where people can find your music. That'll all be in the episode notes. So if people want to connect with you and hear what you're all about, it's real easy for them to find.
Badass, dude.
Awesome. Yeah, so thanks again.
Yeah, have a great night, and I guess we'll talk to you soon.
There's cement on my steel-toed boots, and this runs deep around my roots. Struggling to stay under one roof, so I'll sleep in my steel-toed boots. I was for you, my steel-toed boots. Well, I've been hanging on these rungs, and yeah, my arms are getting stronger, but I can't get my feet to latch on, so I'll keep hanging on these rungs, with gravity. I will treat you for fancy shoes. I won't treat you. With gravity, I won't trade you. I won't trade you for fancy shoes. I won't trade for fancy shoes. My steel-toed boots.
If you like this episode of Groove Talk, why not leave a review? You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Help us break through those evil algorithms and reach the most amount of glorious listeners that we possibly can. For up-to-date information on the show, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find us at Froggy Style Productions. For more ways to support the show, visit fsproductions.ca.